What's up, family? Family, I've been going through some things lately, right? Actually, on and off about 10 years. And I've been trying to determine just how serious it was and why did the problem exist at all, okay? When I was coming up, when you go upstate or you hang in other countries and shit, right? And you tease and you joke and shoot the shit, right? One of the things that they always brought up about people that lived in the South was that they were fucking each other, that family members fuck one another, that incest shit. And I always laughed at that shit, you know what I'm saying? Because it never really affected me until like about 10 years ago. When I saw how serious it was, I tried to reach out and talk to other people about it because I had never experienced anything like that in my life. And it was so fucking disgusting until it was like you want to hide it. You don't want people to know that type of shit goes on in your family. In my particular case, I reached out to different people, and when I did that, they tried to hide my ass. Okay, they tried to put my ass away, and a part of one of the reasons why they were able to almost succeed was because I was fucking with these people who have enough power to reach out and touch anything they choose to. In the process of doing that, so I found out just why it's so serious. And one of the reasons, for several reasons why it's so serious, is that the courts and the churches are involved in this type of behavior. They don't want people to know about it, so they have instituted different types of scapegoats and places to be able to put you, to prevent you from running your mouth about it. Now, in my experience, what I'm saying is that not only are the courts involved, but the clergy, the churches are involved. And because of what they are in the South, what actually takes place is that they have enough power to influence the courts and the police department. Okay? Now, the great thing about me is that for the most part, people know me to be a straight shooter. You know what I mean? I'm going to tell the truth. Okay? Once upon a time ago, I did a lot of different little things. Like I said, I was a piece of shit. But I changed that for the simple reason that I saw that it was not the way to go. It wasn't the way. Of course, we want to institute some balance. I'm not perfect, but at the same time, what I'm trying to do is institute balance. Okay? My daughter, oldest daughter, told me once, and I was talking about balance, and she explained to me that, Dad, even a lie has a certain degree of balance, meaning that sometimes a lie is necessary in order to balance a situation out. I found it amusing because for the simple reason that what she says does. People do lie at certain times in order to get something done. But with me, I could tell the truth for one reason. I don't want anybody to ever look at me and say, well, you lying. He told a lie about this, he might tell a lie about that. So even when it hurts me, I tell the truth. All right? The safeguard, or the best part about that, is that when I say something to people, for the most part, they look at me and they say, okay, he's too stupid to tell a lie, so he must be telling the truth. And that's helped me. But back to the main story. At some point, what has to be done is that we have to try and look at and analyze why this shit happens and how it affects people once they get to a certain age. Okay? Once you get to a certain age in life, you would expect, at least for me, once people get to a certain age, you expect them not to be involved in certain activities. But that ain't necessarily the truth. And that older people don't always tell the truth and don't always have your best interest at heart. Me, coming up, there's nothing anybody could say about an elderly person that was negative that I would not believe. As I got older, I began to understand that elderly people are just like everybody else. And when they turn rotten, ain't nothing you can motherfucking do about it. But more importantly, you have to be careful how you deal with the situation because of the same reason I used to believe that elderly people didn't lie. When an elderly person tells you something, you are most likely to listen because you look at this poor little elderly person, the person that couldn't possibly do something wrong. That was naivety on my part. But I'm learning that that's not the case. Okay? I got my first taste of it by dealing with my dad. but he eventually came clean. His heart oversaw or overlapped everything else in the end because he realized that I was trying to do the right thing. In the case of my mother, however, it's a completely different scenario altogether. When I was coming up, everything that was wrong, that was going on in my life and hers and our family was my father's fault. I realized later that was a lie. It takes two people to tangle, and in the end, what you have to review and understand is that when people stay together after a certain point of time, they have to have something in common. It ain't just abuse, okay? We look at women and we say, well, why are you still with this asshole? Because there's some abuse coming from that angle as well, okay? And they stay together because they love that particular activity. Now, here's the deal. What I'm trying to do at this particular point, I'm trying to get people that have had this situation, this madness, this sickness that I'm having to deal with. I'm trying to get them to come forth and speak, because it's difficult for them to do so because, of course, right off the rip it's embarrassing. And we won't even talk about the part of it being completely disgusting, because that's what it is. Now, I'm saying all this for a reason. I'm looking at the behavior of some of the people that I've had to deal with since I've been out of prison. I'm looking at this whole fake Jew thing and the things that these people do in general, okay, and how they've changed the moral compass of everybody in the country and over the world. For those that are unaffected by it and keep strong and maintain that balance and realize this is right and this is wrong, they're alone, or their voices are stifled because they want to try and infect everybody as much as they possibly can, so that when somebody speaks, they're alone. That's not the case here. In this particular case, guys, we have to come together and fight what's going on together, because if not, we all become victims of not saying anything. You know that saying about when something bad is going on and the good guys don't say anything, they're just as bad. That's the case. But sometimes people don't say anything because they're just simply embarrassed. They can't believe it's happening to them. In the case of our children and the things that are happening to them, I'm beginning to understand that most things that happen to children start in their own homes, the people that are closest to them. And they fall victim to a society that has forgotten the importance of dealing with children. Now, that being said, guys, I'm not trying to judge the fake Jews and all this lack of moral compass, because according to Tao, that's just reality. What I'm trying to say is that in order to create some balance and somebody gets saved in the process, you have to come together. I share my experiences, the things that go on with me, because I'm just like you. I'm struggling trying to get from point A to point B. I maintain my strength for one reason, and that's the reason that I gave you before. I tell the truth. I'm too stupid to do anything else. Join the too stupid group. Tell the truth. And fight for what you know is wrong, what you know is right, opposed to fighting to be wrong. Love you guys.